Hello, I'm your host, Leonard Duncan. Welcome to a new episode of ATV-TALK and Motorsports Podcast. Please join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you interviews with industry professionals, live events, live news about the motorsports industry in every episode. Enjoy the show. Angela Moore, welcome to ATV-TALK. How are you?
Hello. Great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And I'm sorry it took so long to get on here.
Well, you know what? I've been wanting to have you on since I started this. Really, seriously. It just took the time it took, for you to feel like it was something that, add value. Telling your story for women's motocross has to be there because you were at Briarcliff. You got to see the reigning champion. Um, and I don't know, at the time, we didn't know this, but she is on a 49 moto win streak.
How amazing is that? That is, obviously unspeakable right now.
It's amazing. Yeah. I can't believe it's been 2 years. She's undefeated. Um, and she had a good win streak from the year before. She wasn't undefeated, but man, let's talk about, you know how much I think that you're awesome. You've won like 11 national titles. You've
Yeah.
freaking dominated on the East Coast. You've dominated on the West Coast. Um, how did you get into ATV racing?
Oh my gosh. So many years ago now. Um, but it all started because, so backstory, I and my parents and I used to live, well, my parents still live there, just 1 mile, like down the trade tracks down from Jody and Debbie, which is now JB Racing. So way back in the day, it was myself, Matt Bartosik, John Bartosik, um, Steve English. There was a big group of us that used to do trail riding. And so one day, my dad and Jody actually went to a local track called Pamatuming Raceway. It's in Pamatuming, Pennsylvania. And he tried it out. And after that, next thing you know, dad was rolling in with 3 new LT80s on a flatbed, ready for all three of us kids.
Nice. That's awesome.
It was amazing.
And so you're probably not going to like me to tell this portion, but I remember watching you play in the dirt at the Nationals when you were a little girl.
I don't know about all of that. I don't know. So the first time I
I
got into the
remember.
no, because the first time I got into nationals, I was like 14 or 15. So I don't know how much dirt rolling I was doing.
You were there when you were a kid.
I don't. So my actual first national was High Point, and
Okay.
this was, I'm guessing 95. So I don't know if this is bad getting out right now, but technically I wasn't legal to ride the women's class yet. I was a year early, and I was supposed to ride an LT80 in the kids class, but it had broken down, was no good. So dad had a friend bring up, I think it was a blaster at the time. He brought up my quad, and I rode my first women's race. So had to have been like 95, 96, I think.
Okay. Well, I remember when we were back there, you and Heather and who else was it that were always battling?
There was Leslie Wells for a while,
Yep. Yep.
and then Susan Parker.
Yep.
And oh, Paula Shank, she was out there motocrossing too.
Okay.
And then eventually Holly Schartzer.
Okay. Man, you remember all of them.
It comes back.
How many years did you get to race the nationals?
So I would say from 95, 96 till, oh, 2024. Nope, 2025. Nope, that's way too far ahead. 2005.
So 2005,
Yep,
roughly.
yep.
Okay. And how long did it take you to win the women's title?
Uh, After my first year in the women's class, I got third place overall. The next year, I had won the championship. I think
And
that was 97.
and how many times did you win it after that?
Oh, so I don't remember the exact years, um, all in a row, but 11 total. And there was actually one year that Heather and I had tied for points overall, tied for first place wins, tied for second place wins, and it came down to how many third place wins we had, and she had won the championship because I believe over in Maryland I had a DNS one race.
Oh man.
Yeah, and it was my fault. After I had washed my bike after a day of racing, I had forgot that I had put a rag up in the the air duct where the filter goes, and I didn't check that before I put my filter on. So my bike ran great for a little while, and by the time I got up to the starting line and we were ready to go, it decided not to work anymore. It was very disheartening at the time. It was very, very, very sad.
Hmm. How long did it take you guys to figure that out?
Oh, not long. It took me not long to figure that out.
Oh man.
It was horrible, but you get over it. You realize your mistakes and you learn from it.
When you guys were racing back there, would you say that on any given day, you or one of the other ladies was going to win?
Absolutely. Again, for a period of time, at one time for sure, it was either Heather, Leslie, Susan, or myself that was up for the win. And this is when nationals, I believe, were still like a grand national series. So you had half the races motocross and half the races TT. So you had to be good at both disciplines to be able to pull off a championship.
Which one did you like the most, motocross or TT?
I don't know. They're both really fun. They're both super fun. They both have their own things. Like the speed of it with TT is a blast, and being able to slide around those corners. But then jumping with motocross was always fun for me.
When you were racing TT, did you have somebody that was setting your bike up, or was your dad doing it?
So my dad was doing it for a really long time. And then for a period of time, I had John Lawson setting up my TT bike, which back in the day, he helped a lot. He hang around with Tom Carlson. He helped with Doug Gust. And way back before that, his son had raced TT. So he was really good about setting bikes up.
Right. And then who did your motocross bike?
Um, I would say my dad. At first it was a long time my dad, and he did the best he could, and obviously it was good because I helped win.
Right. That what was your favorite track back then?
Oh man, so Muddy Creek was always fun just because depending on the direction of the track, I like how it was like multi-directional. So one year you ran it way, the next year you ran it another. Um,
The fact that it
and
was
the
flooded every year didn't bother you?
ah, I mean, and I hate mud races too. I actually got landed on there,
Really?
but when it was dry, it was really dry and dry slick in the corners. So I think that's just where, it just really appealed to me.
That's so cool. Did you, whether we are out riding with our friends and family or racing in extreme environments, we all need good tires. That's why I recommend GBC Power Sports Tires, a division of Greenball Corp. Their products, which include XC Master, Mini Master, and Groundbuster 3, are what leading professionals in the ATV UTV industry are using. You can get your tires at greenballtires.com or find them on Instagram as GBC Tires for further inquiries. I was thinking of something to ask you, and then I totally lost track of it. Um, Muddy Creek and me didn't get along. So you
Well,
said,
one time I was racing I think it was four-stroke A or 16 to 24 class, and I had actually like jumped over like a tunnel jump and landed off to the side and ran into a barbed wire fence.
oh,
So since then they've taken the barbed wire fence out. We've realized it's not safe.
really? Go,
Yeah,
go figure.
no,
That
go
was my
figure.
question. That was my question, though. What other classes did you race besides the women's class?
So in motocross throughout the years it was 16 to 24, and then after turning into four-stroke it was four-stroke A, and then in TT I ran whatever equivalent like a men's class was at the time, on a four-stroke, as well as the pro-am class, which I have to say I did whole shot Corey Ellis one time. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And I have a picture of it too.
Nice. How much do you think the development that of you racing with the men, how did that develop you?
It made me faster. I think for me in the women's class, you come to a certain pace if you're running against a certain person. And so if you run with faster people, you're going to become faster. So that's a huge reason why I ran a second class all those years, is to help me progress and get faster and not stay stagnant to where I was in just the women's class.
When it was TT, did you run the same classes on the motocross track as did you ran in the TT? So you ran in the points version of it as well?
Uh, I never did the pro am in motocross, unless I mean until the women's became an actual pro am class for a year or two. I stuck to my age group, either the four stroke A.
Never went and why, what was the holdup and why wouldn't you go on the pro-am and the motocross?
Oh, they're fast. I just wasn't. I wasn't just up to that speed. You know your limits and you know what you do to be safe, but still excel. So you just got to stop and think about what you need to do.
Right. What was training like back then? Like today, everybody is set into, exercise and diet and, tracking their blood and all of these things. What was it like back then?
I don't know what you just said, but that wasn't it back in the day. At least for me. Growing up, just being in school, first off, being in high school and doing sports in high school, there wasn't a lot of time to actually go and practice unless it was going to a local track for the weekend. That was your practice. Or if you had a free night and they had an open practice, you would go. But in the wintertime, that just doesn't work. Being in Pennsylvania, it just that just wasn't working. Um, Other than that, I just had worked and gone to school, and I rode every opportunity I got, but there wasn't very many.
So there was no other training at all. You didn't go to the gym. You didn't, other than playing other sports, that was it.
No, for a long time that was it. And even after high school, I really didn't go to the gym. It was you try to get to ride when you can. Other than that, I took up running for a little while, but I'm not a long distance runner. So,
That's odd, but not odd. When you talk to a lot of the older racers, there was training, but it was generally riding. And if you couldn't ride, a lot of the people didn't do anything.
well, and then even back in the day, it was you don't want to practice too much because that's your race bike. So you don't want to beat up your race bike too much
Right.
that you have to repair it before a race. So it was a practice and a race bike all at the same time.
Yeah, you might get a moto in between rounds, but that's all there is because you want to make sure that it's good for a couple nationals.
Maintenance, and then you don't want to wear out your motor.
Right. And you did anyways, right?
Yeah, it happens.
Right, right. So when you were in school, what other sports did you play?
I did a lot of softball. I grew up doing softball, and then I did cross country as well. Which again, I found out I don't like running long distance.
What position did you play at softball?
No, man. Oh, I did wrestle one time. That was fun.
When you played softball, what position did you play?
Oh, what position? I'm sorry. I thought you asked what other sport I did. I apologize. So I did either center field, left field, or catcher.
Really? You
Yes,
must have a
sir.
cannon for an arm.
Got an arm.
Wow, that's awesome. How did you guys excel at all in the softball realm?
Absolutely. So it was my sophomore and junior year. We made it to the state championships in Pennsylvania. And then my senior year, back there, we have all county placings, and you can place first, second, or third. And I got first team all county outfield.
Nice. I'm surprised that didn't land you at a D1 school somewhere.
Unfortunately, it didn't.
Did you have college in mind at all?
I did. I didn't. I just didn't know what I wanted to go to school for. Um, there was a local college that did offer me a scholarship, but at the same time, I was racing. So at that point in my life, it seemed more important to go my racing route because of how well I was doing. But looking back today, I wish I would have went a different route just just to do something different. I don't regret any of my racing. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. But just I don't know. You just wonder what could have been.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get it. I was supposed to go to college to play football. Well, the guy that was in my spot was, 7 inches taller than me and
Oh
outweighed
gosh.
by 70 pounds. Um, it just wasn't going to happen for me. I mean, I knew
Yep.
it. So I opted out and, went to work and, did a little bit of local racing and it was just better for my life that it worked
Yep.
out. I wasn't a great student either, you know.
Hey, everything happens for a reason, right?
Exactly. I mean, I would have loved to have gone and done certain other things, but I'm pretty stoked with the way it worked out.
Absolutely. I really wouldn't change a thing. It's just the what could have been,
Right.
but
Right.
with what I have done and what I did accomplish, I've made worldwide friends because of it. And I don't know that that would have happened before.
So being that you spent so much time racing, what year did you graduate high school?
1999, baby.
99. Okay. And you raced another 6 years back east. How did you get out west?
So, I had finished college. I had a web design degree and I really wasn't using it. I was working at a local newspaper at the time. And it's one of those things where if you grow up in a small town, if you never leave that small town, you'll just stay there the rest of your life. I didn't want to stay in my small town the rest of the life. So, um, Lone Star Racing was an epic sponsor for me, and that started out with Tom Fisher, one of the original owners, which was JP Racing. Um, Tom Fisher and Dan Fisher had sponsored me, um, and they had done that for a few years. So when I was looking for an opportunity to go somewhere, they had a sales position open. And so I decided to pack what I could in my car and drive across the country and start something new.
How did mom and dad take that?
Um, it was a little rough for them, I think. I mean, I'm their oldest kid, so it was a little rough, I'm sure, especially driving by myself across the country. I'm sure they were really freaked out.
Yeah, but I know you, and that wouldn't have freaked me out to see you do that at all. I would have
No,
pitied the darn fool that would have messed with you.
that's right.
Yeah, dude, you have no idea what you're getting into, dude. You're better off just leaving this one alone.
I don't need pepper spray.
I, I understand. I know you. I understand. Why do you think that we all were scared of you?
No, 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 no.
I'm,
I am
I'm
a
just kidding.
gentle little kitty.
Okay, tell yourself that. It's all right. We'll go along with
Whatever
that.
makes me feel better, right?
Right. So you got out to the West Coast in
Hmm.
Arizona. Are you looking for the best suspension technology for your sport ATV? Look no further than Elka Suspension, the industry leader in sport ATV suspension technology. With championship wins in prestigious events such as the Dakar Rally, Score, Best in the Desert, ATV MX, Cross Country, and Works, Elka Suspension has established itself as the go-to choice for athletes and enthusiasts alike. But they don't just stop at ATVs. They're constantly expanding into new markets, including UTVs, trucks, SUVs, pit bikes, snowmobiles, and more. Their commitment to innovation and quality means they're always looking to improve and adapt so you can enjoy a smooth ride wherever you go. Want to learn more about what Elka Suspension can do for you? Visit their website at elkasuspension.com or give them a call at 450 655 4855. They will always be happy to answer your questions and help you find the perfect suspension solution for your needs. And that's quite a culture shock because I mean, you're talking totally different things go on in Arizona, and Arizona is booming in growth, and
Yes.
it is not a small town.
No, 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 no. So I lived in a couple of different suburbs around there. So between Mesa, Tempe, um, Chandler, there was different ones, but it was definitely different than where I grew up in Pennsylvania.
Right.
Definitely. So culture shock was real. But it was amazing to just learn so many different new things and learn about so many different people.
Right. And then you get on the phone selling ATV parts and other things to people all over the world.
Yes. Yep,
That
yep. So one of my best customers is his name is Shane Hardiman, and he lives over in Australia. We still chat to this day. And he's a amazing friend and love to go visit over there someday.
just wouldn't we all?
Heck yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my bucket list places.
it is. Absolutely. I just don't like all the animals out there, the big spiders. I mean, we had stuff in Arizona, but there's some major things out there in
There's
Australia.
only the only thing that's going to kill you in Arizona is rattlesnakes.
You got some black widows out there and the brown
You
recluse.
got black widows in Michigan too, or Pennsylvania too.
Nope. I don't see any of them.
You don't see them, but they're there.
No, I don't even see their webs.
They're trust me, they're a world spider. They're across the
Okay.
planet, you know.
Okay.
Trust me.
I'm gonna have to
They're not
Google
here.
that one.
Well, no, they're there. Trust me, they're there. Um, I've seen them in Louisiana and other places. So
Nope. I haven't seen any here. I've been here 7 years in Michigan, so far so good.
well, good. They're afraid of you.
They're yeah, they know what's up.
Exactly. So when you got out there, did you have any intention of racing anymore?
Uh it was kind of a toss up. I so at that time I had my hybrid, the CRF 450. Um, and I knew at some point my dad was going to bring that out. So I at first didn't think I would be able to go back east again. But fortunately, with Dan and Lone Star Racing, they made that happen. Um, so I was able to still race back east for a couple of years.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I mean, I didn't want to give it up over there just because I moved out west. I still wanted to go out. I still wanted to win championships, and bring championships home for all my sponsors that had helped support me for so long.
Right. And then after you quit racing back east, how did you how did you hook up on the West Coast with racing?
So with that, at that time, um, I was able to I did race the Works series as well as what was that series that
Quad
ran in
cross?
Cal? There it is, quad cross.
Hmm.
Um, but so at that time, Lone Star had actually teamed up with Doug Eichner and Polaris. Um, and so I was able to get in on that deal with all of that. So I was able to ride the new MXR 450 in the Work Series and the Quad Cross.
And didn't you ride in the work series before the Polaris as well?
Oh,
I thought you rode
I
something
think
before you went to the Polaris. You rode in you won a women's championship before on the Polaris, before you got on the Polaris, didn't you?
not at West. No. So the same season, 2008 was my last season.
Okay.
And that was the year or 2007, 8. So that was the year that I ran the quad cross and the whole entire work series. And that was entirely on the Polaris. Before that, it was all back east between the WPSA and the Nationals.
Okay. Okay. I thought you won more works titles in the women's division than one.
No, it was just that last year. Who was the girl?
Julie?
Yes, 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 yes. She was amazing rider. Amazing.
Yeah, she won quite a few, and then you came in and beat her.
Oh, I did. Showed her what the East Coast girls can do.
Right, right.
But
Yeah.
it was such a transition though from running 10, 15, 20 minute motos to running an hour and a half long. That was huge. It takes a different mentality and a different kind of body strength as well as what I had found out.
Well, I remember we were up in Northern California somewhere. I can't even remember the name of the track. And
Hollister?
yep, Hollister Hills. And you frickin'
I almost podiumed in the
Yes.
in the men's class. Oh, I was so almost there.
Top five, the top five, you could throw a blanket over,
Oh my
because
gosh.
you guys were swapping positions. You never led, but you were close to it. You were right on them. I mean, for a, for a while there, we thought we were going to get the third spot, and
I know. I
didn't
think
you?
I have
I think you ended
I
up
think
fifth.
yes. Yep. It's oh my gosh. It was it was amazing. I would have to say that was probably what felt like one of the best rides ever. Like just to be able to compete so well with those guys in those kind of tracks. Like you have smooth spots, but then you have some real rough areas there, and it just felt so accomplishing.
It was. It was totally. That was such a great race. I remember because everyone was watching. Are you ready to be captivated by one of nature's masterpieces? Discover the breathtaking beauty of Antelope Slot Canyon, a natural wonder in Page, Arizona. Join us on a guided tour and immerse yourself in the mystical light beams, rich colors, and serene landscapes. With tours at prime sunbeam hours, experience photographer's paradise and capture memories that will last a lifetime. Comfortable shoes, a camera, and a smile are all you need for this adventure. Book your journey today at Antelope Slot Canyon Tours and let the canyon enchant you. Please visit us now, antelopeslotcanyon.com, for more details.
That's awesome.
It was a huge
Makes me feel
crowd.
good.
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember when we were back east, um, and we would be working on bikes and everything, you would hear through the pits, hey, the women's class is going, and you could just see the teams running to the track to make sure that we got to watch the women's race, because it didn't matter, what you were doing, unless it was a massive overall, you put your tools down and you went and checked it out. And that was like the only class that I would ever get to watch other than the pros.
Hmm. So I think that's what made all of us women made that class happen. Um, it was the battles that happened between us that made that excitement happen. So, I mean, I need to thank Heather and Leslie back in the day, and Susan back in the day, and Holly back in the day, and Paula. Like, it made a great group. And I remember one time, oh, I forget the race, but we actually had to qualify for the women's class because we had 22 women sign up for the race. I don't know that that's happened since then.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So many, which inspired different women's classes because we had a women's A and a women's BC, and then it went to women's Pro Am, and then women's, so many different things. It's progressed and regressed. And I feel with now the WMX, it's progressing again, and it can be amazing for the women.
Right. It can be. And you look at, you have WMX,
Yep.
WXC, you have a Pro Works division for women. And, I was talking to the WMX gals and the WXC gals. And at the time I was working with Tori Matisich, who's the dominant woman on the West Coast. And they started talking to her about, well, you got to go to the promoter and get him to promote the women's pro class. He's
Yep.
the one who's got to make it for you.
That's who that I mean, unless you take on the battle yourself as a woman to promote the class, you have to rely on the promoters.
And the promoters, I don't know, remember what you thought of the promoters back then, but I think they were a little better then than they are now.
I mean, I don't know. I other than Briarcliff, I don't know what the promoters are really doing right now, really.
They're horrible, in my opinion. I mean, but okay, I'm the guy standing on the sidelines that's getting to watch what they do. I'm not the one that's, actually in the hot seat, doing it. I talk to Jeremy a lot and ask him his opinion. Um, and where, I understand his struggles, but these other guys don't seem to be doing what they're supposed to be doing as far as
Well,
radio and trying to get the news out there and to get it out on social media, do extra things to promote people to come there like Jeremy did. I'm not talking, you're never going to
yep.
have another legends race like that. You're not going to do it.
Unless you have women involved.
Well, they need to have a legends women's race.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to promote that right now.
Well, Jeremy's your guy. Jeremy's the
You
guy that
know,
would
mix
reach out and
mix it
take.
up with the WMX, make it a whole big deal.
I think they should because,
Legends of the past meet with legends of the future,
well, there you go. Well, you
right?
should promote. I wouldn't necessarily mix the class to where you guys would race each other
Oh
because I
no,
don't,
I'm not saying that either.
I'm not saying that. I don't think that's totally fair.
I need
Uh,
to start practicing right now if we do.
right. Yeah. You better get on it. In a couple years, we'll call you in. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Like
But you
we'll
got to
like
train. That means you got to
we
run.
gotta like hand swap and we'll team.
Yeah. You got to train though. So you're going to have to run and sit ups and push ups. And
What?
yeah. Yeah. I
Uh,
know. It's a
okay.
thing. It's really a thing.
Hey, it is. It is.
I mean, I don't know. Did you
I
get
could
to
do it
meet,
again.
did you get to meet any of the WMX gals?
So so this was the only race that I went to this year. I didn't see any this year. I was super focused on seeing so many people from my
Your
past
era.
with the
Yep.
legends. It was my era, and just seeing those guys again, I was reliving it with them.
Oh, so I did too. I got in so much trouble because I was
All
fanboying.
you were doing was running around all weekend.
Well, I was talking to so many different people, but I'm in a position. I'm at the starting line. I'm supposed to be filming the machines and the start and everything, and I catch myself, you know, 3/4 of the all this time that I wasted. I probably wasted 25 minutes of filming time, shooting the shit and talking, and I'm like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I was supposed
Uh-oh.
to be filming a bunch of this stuff and taking film of the bikes and everything for the videos that we were going to produce. Every day when we sit down to edit the videos that we produce, Valeria just, what were you doing here? What is this?
Well,
As she's looking at
listen,
some of the videos,
she should have spoken up, right? And been like,
she did.
"Dad, what's up?"
She did. She the second day, I made way less mistakes.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah, because she lectured me, because she looked at some of my stuff on Friday night and goes, "What were
Yep.
you?" And I go,
Oh,
"Wasn't. I was enjoying the moment." Um,
right. And that's the biggest thing. It was a huge moment that weekend. The whole weekend was a moment.
well, yeah, and it got me, tied back in with some of the people that I got to spend time with. I got to talk to John Natali, and I met John Natali the first time in 1991 at Loretta Lynn's.
Okay.
That's the
Do
first
you
time
remember, what was it, Challenger Raceway?
in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
I
it was
hated
a
it.
TT.
I hated it.
Horrible. Hor-
He'd never get the
Horrible.
bikes to work. And okay, this is where, Doug and I are West Coast guys, and we're, motocross, off-road, desert stuff. And we're asking Shane, hey, dude, our bike doesn't work. What do we do? What do we? And he just ignore us. He'll never tell us.
Well,
Never
of
help us at
course.
all.
You blame
And
them?
yeah, I do. I mean, he should have helped us.
At
Um,
least a little.
when we were at Challenger one year, those footballs that they have the deal on the back of them, so that's more like a missile, and they whistle when you throw them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, there was like us and Shane and one other pit, and we were throwing this football at each other while we're trying to build and prep bikes. All they're working on bikes, we're working on bikes, and this football comes bouncing in, into your tools, and ging, and stuff goes everywhere. And you wait a few minutes, you wait a little bit, and throw it back, and blow up their toolbox with it. And I think we must have thrown that football around for 5 or 6 hours. It was so
That that sounds like the family that racing is.
oh it, so many cool things. I mean, it's like Joe. Not everybody can take Joe Burt. And I like Joe. Enjoy talking to Joe now. He is a
Yeah.
really he's a nice guy now. He really
I
is.
haven't I haven't tried.
He's still full of himself,
I
but
That's what it is. I don't
you
know. I
know,
mean, here's the thing about being proud and everything, but there's an ego,
oh,
right?
he's got it.
So,
Every one of those racers have got it though.
but some have a way larger ego than others, and some know how to handle it better than others,
Yes,
right?
they do. Yes, they do.
Right?
Joe
So
does not
it
have any control over his,
no, no.
but he's still a nice guy.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
You know,
Like I had talked to him for a short little time, and I mean we always got along.
Yeah, he's Doug and him are trying to bury the hatchet. I mean, Joe's trying to, and Doug's not letting him really, but you know, I don't think it's as bad as everybody thinks it. And the rivalry's nothing now because they're both Doug's almost 60, Joe's in his 50s. Come on. That was 20 years ago.
Oh, years ago,
No, it's
years
almost
ago,
30, almost 30 years ago now. I mean, really.
so long,
Yeah, it's been a long time.
long
You're talking the late
time.
90s when that happened. But so many of the people were enjoyable to talk to.
Yes, 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 yes.
So when you were there, who, who did you surprise you the most when you ran into them?
Um, you know what? It was Tom Carlson. Um, I I figured he would be there, but when I saw him, he to me he's always Uncle Tom. He had done my motors for years. I'm sure won me a few championships, but for a period of time, like he really took me under his wing and was able to go racing with him and Doug Gus and John Lawson. And it really helped me a lot be able to mature in racing and think about different things. He's a super smart guy, super, super smart guy. And he was able to guide me. I feel like when I needed it most, when it came to racing.
Yeah, I enjoy him as just a friend. We were never really competitors, but we were
Yep.
always at the track together. We were always shooting the shit. Nobody has seen it, but him and I got in that slingshot in Michigan.
No way.
Yep.
I need to see it.
Nobody will ever see. You talk about two little girls squealing. We put them all to shame.
Did
Yeah.
either one of you pass out?
No, but we were sure acting. We were squealing like little squirrel girls.
I would never go in it, so you're better than me.
I only did it because he did it. I couldn't. my ego wouldn't let me back out, you
See,
know.
talking about egos.
Well, you know, I mean, hey, got us in the slingshot. So I think I was freaking two something at that point, and he was two something. So we're big, you know, we're
You're
stretching the
slinging it.
limits of that thing, you know. Oh God, it was horrible, you know,
That sounds
horrible.
amazing. Sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
And they had a couple of the machines there that Tom had worked on. You know, they had the LTZ that he built with Gust,
Yep,
and then they had a 350X there that he did that was so beautiful.
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, very talented guy. You know, probably not as remembered as much as he should be.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, and I think, some of that has to do with him. He doesn't really promote his brand, He relies a lot on word of mouth and I mean, basically relying on that. Really, he doesn't really promote his stuff. Like
You got to figure he's
it,
in his 70s. He comes from an era when word of mouth was the best advertising there ever was.
like he still doesn't have a cell phone. He's never sent a text message. Like that's the kind of guy he is, and
I
he
wish
won't change ever.
I wish I was that. I wish I didn't have a cell phone, but I do, and you text messages and emails. Trust me, I fought it for a long time, and you know, Lauren, you never would think is a tech guy. He's like, here's your phone. Here's how you
Oh,
send a text message. Here's how you send an email. Yes, you will use this.
oh,
I don't want. It doesn't matter if you want
it
to.
doesn't matter.
You know, so we had to come. I had to come into the modern era. You know, if it wasn't for Valeria, half of this ATV talk stuff wouldn't happen.
Oh, well, good for her, helping
You
you out
know,
big time.
most people don't even realize the first 5 episodes I published with no editing. So,
Really?
and we don't edit very much. Don't get me wrong. So like
Oh gosh.
we only edit out the disruptions sometimes when the sound, a dog barks or a door clicks or something like that. Now, because I have a more controlled environment for the sound.
Right, right, right.
Well, when I first started doing this, I did it in an open air room.
Okay. Oh, so you're catching everything.
Birds, crickets, everything. Didn't matter. It was all, everything. It was all the noises you could get. The the neighbor's dog barking down the hill, down the street, you could catch. Um, and
Just everything and everything. The air
episode,
turns on, you hear it.
oh yeah, it was crazy. So then, her sister Paula was helping me, Yvette, the middle sister, and um, she didn't want to edit, and she was trying to teach me how to edit, and it wasn't going very well. And
Oh no.
Valeria wanted no part of this, right? So then she sits down one day and starts playing with it. And the next thing I know, she's edited all 5 of the first videos, reposted them, and plugged them back in, and
Oh,
started doing every one for me. And the first year and a half, we put out. I mean, I was putting out some weeks 5 shows a week.
okay. That's a lot.
Yeah, we were pushing it out. It was
Oh,
crazy. Uh,
good for Valeria pushing
yeah,
you.
well, the girls have backed me way down,
Yeah.
because you have less is more, and I have 3 different platforms that we produce
Right,
on
right, right.
audio, Instagram, and YouTube, and all of the shows. I have YouTube specific shows, I have Instagram shows, and then I have audio shows.
That's a lot.
It is, it is, but um, there's a lot. They're totally different shows, though. They're totally different topics. Like if you come on an Instagram show with me, we will not talk about the same things.
I'm excited for that. I will do that with you.
Yeah, it's a totally different thing. And different topics. I mean, we may talk about, something that happened in the industry that week or within that month, so that, we're back up to speed with what's going on actively or currently. Or we may get into something that happened in a bike that was built and the machines. One of the things I didn't ask you about is your hybrid back then. Was it
Yes.
in a was it a custom chassis hybrid, or was it in a modern or a production chassis?
So it was a Lone Star chassis.
Okay. So it was a
Yep.
totally aftermarket setup.
Oh yeah. So Lone Star chassis, A arm, swing arm, axle, hubs all around, lock nut, steering stem, steering
Everything.
stem clamp, like everything that Lone Star produced. That's what it was. So I actually have a gentleman over in the UK that has this bike.
Nice.
Yes. And honestly, between that and one other of my four TRX 450Rs that I had built, those are my two favorite bikes ever. Ever, ever, ever.
Right. That's so cool. Um, this brings me back. I just spoke to a young man today that said, "Well, hybrids are new," and I said, "Well, not so much."
No,
I
that
go, I
was
go,
what?
I go. They were started building hybrids in the 70s.
Well, there was that. Well, they started racing them though, and actually being kind of legal. What? It was early 2000s?
I think Corey had one in 99.
Okay. Oh, the Yamaha?
The YZ 400,
Yep.
because we were at one of the stadium races, and we were talking at the starting line, and he was telling me he was struggling a bit, and I go, "Dude, you got this. Got the fastest times. Your bike's working great. Everything." He went out, and when we got done talking, he was like supercharged. He went out and won.
Yep.
I go, "See."
Amazing.
I told him after, because see, I told you. You just got it. It's
Oh,
just a mindset.
it, I mean, the biggest thing is getting a bike to handle, no matter what bike you have. Making the bike handle, having your shocks right, you can ride anything.
I agree. It doesn't. Doug was a rarity though. He rode anything.
I've done that. So I teamed up with, at the time, Tracy Checo, so Tracy Perkins now. We we did a couple of 12-hour races and a 6-hour race. And so the 6-hour race, it was one bike, two riders. And I mean, this chick with her gear on is 110 pounds. I'm not anywhere near 110 pounds with my gear on. So to be able to ride a bike with softer shocks, you have to ride it differently, right? So to be able to adapt to that at first was a little challenge, but I feel like I was able to do it pretty well.
Did you guys win those races?
The 6-hour race we did win, and I actually had a faster time in the woods than Tracy did.
That's only because you are one bad girl on quad.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I got to talk to Tracy and had her on the show. Super insightful.
She's amazing. She really is. She is still one of my wonderful friends. And it was always great to be able to race with her. She is a very down to earth person and a wonderful friend.
Well, note to self, I'm not going to go ride quads with you, Tracy, or Kinsey Osborne. Just not going to
No,
happen.
no, no, no. Wouldn't that be a team though, right?
Oh boy. Oh
That would
boy.
be a team. That would
Yeah.
be a team. Maybe Team USA Women's. I don't know.
Well, there you go. You need to get them to sign you guys up.
It's just a theory. It's a thought.
Right. Well, then you're going to have to train
I can train. It's okay. I can do it if I need to.
them. Hey, once you sign me up for the team, I'll get in shape. Don't worry about it.
Hey, if
I'm
I
just
know
not
I'm
going to
going to
give it
be
to
able
them.
to do something, I'll do it.
There you go. That's awesome. So, how much do you miss the competitiveness?
Oh, so much. I think for me, that's just in my nature. I like to be competitive. I grew up being competitive in different sports and different genres, so I miss it a lot. Um, so even being at Briarcliff, I wanted to find a bike, find some gear, and go out there and race.
You didn't tell me that. I would have had that. I would have made that happen.
I don't know about that.
Trust me, I'd have made it happen. I know a lot of.
Listen, my
I
my
know a
my
lot of.
brain my brain believes a lot of things that I can still do, but no, it was so great, and I it would be amazing to be able to go out there and compete again.
I feel bad. Jason Blunt, a gentleman that I met, well, he's been a customer for ours for years. Um, Purchased a machine from me, and then we did a podcast and did a magazine article on his bike. And one of the deals, he helped us get out to the Briarcliff race, and one of his requirements was that I was to take a lap. And unfortunately, the only opportunity I had was on Friday morning at like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
Well,
I missed that.
I didn't ride. I didn't make it. Like we couldn't get
Oh,
there in time. We couldn't get until like 10,
oh,
10, 10:30, 11, something like that, because we flew in, our flights were delayed, then by the time we got the rental car, got to the hotel, you know, it was like 3:30 in the morning, 4 in the morning. We need,
oh, no kidding.
yeah, I had to let Doug sleep a little because he still had to practice that day. It wasn't totally
I,
fair to Valeria.
he's an old man. It's okay. They need your sleep.
Yeah, he does. I did
I
too.
do too. I do too. I love my
So,
sleep.
so, I just physically couldn't do it. And
Yeah.
I felt bad. I still haven't, but I got to call Jason and let him know that, we tried, but it just didn't happen.
Well, you can only do so much what you can do when you're not flying a plane, right?
When I'm not flying it, yeah, they need to let me fly more. If they would have let me drive, we'd never be late.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Okay.
Nobody may like the landing, but we'd be on time.
Might blow a tire, but we'll be good.
Hey, we'd get there. Hey, I made it to all of those races on time, didn't I?
Absolutely.
I was always driving in, wheels were on fire, but we got there on time.
And I do have to note that during the work series, you helped me a lot. You not only helped me with learning bike setup when I do all that stuff myself, with tracks and what to expect, and being a wonderful friend.
I appreciate
Um, I no, I appreciate you because you helped me get through that last season a lot.
it. It was tough. It was tough. It
There
was a
was a
lot of
lot
shit.
going on. There was a
Yeah, there
lot going
was.
on that season, and to be able to not focus a lot on racing because of track drama, that's huge. And you
I,
really helped me through that, and I appreciate you. You helped me a
I
lot.
I lived through some of that as well, and having friends like you there made it a little easier for me, because I had things that I had to deal with as well. And I mean, it wasn't the most pleasant place for me to be at the time, but I had friends like you there and other racers that I just could not be a part of their lives and not part of the racetrack, because that's where my family was. That's where the people that I really wanted to be around.
Yep. And I think that's the word you said was family.
Yep.
So no matter if it was East Coast or West Coast, everyone was family, no matter where I went. And that's super comforting.
And the greatest people you're ever going to meet are at an ATV race.
Absolutely. People you can trust.
Oh, totally. Totally. Young lady, I want to invite you to come back on the show because we've covered this much of your career and there's so much more to talk about. Um, I'm,
Absolutely.
I'm extending the invitation to you right now. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to share us with your family and friends. The podcast is available on all streaming platforms, and you can find us on social media as ATV-TALK Podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter.